Welcome to NightCap. Welcome to NightCap. I know my background look all different, but I am presently in Oregon. And so I'm doing a training with Walgreens acquisition and mergers. So you guys keep me lifted in your prayers. But welcome to NightCap. If you just joined, y'all, please go ahead, like, share. Okay. Like and share this live because tonight we're talking about myth busters as it relates to the COVID vaccine and other vaccines. So if you have an elderly patient that needs to be vaccinated, you're thinking about being vaccinated and you're not vaccinated, I said that need to be vaccinated. But if you have any elderly patients or elderly parents, maybe you have an aunt and uncle and they're considering being vaccinated, this is the live that they need to be on, or you should join so that you can learn more information. My co-host is with me, but he is, as always, he is toggling back and forth. So he's going to jump on as needed. But how are you all doing? If you're doing great, type great in the comments. So we're going to get straight into it. If you are vaccinated and you don't mind sharing, can you drop into the comments, I am vaccinated? And as you do that, I am going to actually share this live because I think it's going to be very informative for people that may be on the fence about being vaccinated, as well as people that are vaccinated and all of the rioting and people are protesting the vaccination. So if you are, please go ahead. Like I said, share it, like it. This is going to be amazing. I'm going to share it to my page as well because I think people need to be on this. Let's see, share, try to post. All right. We are talking vaccines. All right. So if you have any questions, drop those, but I'm going to jump straight into it. So the COVID vaccine, most people will come to my pharmacy. If you don't know, my name is Sharice Nicole, and I am a pharmacist. I do practice and I am licensed. And so right now I am in Oregon where vaccinations are very heavy. I am training a group of pharmacists as well as taking over another pharmacy called Bimart that Walgreens is purchasing. But one of the things that people ask when they come to the counter about the COVID vaccine is, can I get the COVID vaccine with the flu shot? The answer is yes. So remember when the COVID vaccine first came out, you can only get the COVID vaccine independent of any other vaccine. And so, and if you did get a vaccine within 4 to 6 weeks, 2 to 6 weeks, then you had to wait. Presently, the CDC is recommending that if you get the COVID vaccine, your first dose, your second dose, and or your booster or additional doses, and we'll talk about the difference between an additional dose and a booster dose later on. But if you are getting those vaccines, again, COVID, Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, and or Pfizer, it is recommended that you also get your flu vaccine with it. Why is it recommended? Because the two boosts your immunity to make sure you're not getting COVID and flu. So y'all, you can die from the flu. I don't know who told you could not die from the flu. I don't know who told you that, the flu is just a bug, but the flu is something very serious. And at one time, the flu virus was also a pandemic. Like any other vaccine that we have on the market, it was a pandemic and something very serious. Okay, it's just coronavirus. She took the cake for the other vaccines that were prior to her. I want to talk a little bit about additional doses versus booster doses. Okay, and again, I want you to share this. So if you are an immunocompromised patient. What do I mean by that? You have cancer, you are a dialysis patient, you have an autoimmune disease, maybe HIV, or any type of serious medical condition. You will more than likely end up having 4 COVID vaccines or 4 COVID doses if you receive Moderna and Pfizer, and maybe 3 if you receive Johnson & Johnson. Now, this is the talk. Don't quote me on it. Nothing has really been set in stone, but the ACIP is definitely having I think I said that wrong. excuse me, y'all, they're definitely having these conversations today. So, additional dose versus booster dose. Um, so additional dose, like I said, the additional dose are for people that are immunocompromised. So those people, 28 days after your second dose, they're recommending that you get an additional dose. And like I said, immunocompromised patients are patients that have cancer, maybe HIV, autoimmune disease, maybe they're on dialysis, and they have something that causes their immune system to be under attack and severely at risk of catching any type of virus or cold. Those people, 28 days after your second dose, you qualify for an additional dose. Now, those same group of people later will probably have to get a booster dose. So that's the difference. So immunocompromised patients will get 3 doses and then later a booster dose. Okay. If you are generally a healthy patient and you, excuse me, and you are inquiring about a booster dose, you will probably end up getting 3. Now, this is for patients that either receive Moderna or Pfizer, because Johnson & Johnson is 1 dose. We'll talk about that separately. But if you receive Moderna and or Pfizer, if you are immunocompromised or in any type of autoimmune disease or anything like that, you'll probably end up receiving 3 doses and a booster dose. And healthy people will receive 2 doses and a booster dose. Okay. If you are generally healthy, 6 months after your Pfizer dose, excuse me, you can receive your booster dose. Okay. And 2 months after your Moderna dose, you can receive your booster dose. A question that we have is, can you mix vaccines like manufacturers? The answer is yes. CDC had a conversation after multiple research. They identified that the 2 will not cause any cross reactivity unless you have an allergic reaction to any of the other vaccines. But you can't mix the manufacturer. So for instance, you can have completed the Pfizer series and then get a Moderna booster, or you could have completed the Moderna series and then get a Pfizer booster. Likewise with Johnson & Johnson, you could have completed Johnson & Johnson and then get a Pfizer booster or a Moderna booster. And with Johnson & Johnson, it is 2 months. So I want to stand corrected. Please forgive me. With Moderna and Pfizer, it is 6 months. With Johnson & Johnson, it is 2 months. After you receive your your only Johnson & Johnson vaccine, 2 months later, you can get your booster dose or additional dose. 20. Welcome, Dr. Walker.
Doctor, thank you so much. You trying to help us understand our status with vaccinations, huh?
Yeah, so I want people to understand the difference between an additional dose and a booster dose. I think that is where the population is confused. So we get a lot of customers that come up to the counter and they're saying they want a booster dose, but technically they're immunocompromised. So you would not get a booster dose. You would be getting an additional dose to later on at a later time receive your booster dose. So those people will more than likely end up with 4, if you had Moderna or Pfizer, 4 vaccines of like a 4-dose series versus a 2 or 3-dose series with the other vaccine with Johnson & Johnson.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that we're having this conversation, right? Because we're still trying to convince a lot of people to get vaccinated. And you are the medical expert. You know I stay blowing you up, asking you about stuff.
Right.
You're the resident pharmacist, but I think initially we had to work through this whole, were they killing Black people? Was this population control? Right? Like we had to get through, I don't want another Tuskegee experiment. And my thing was, I'll be very honest. I have a white colleague of mine who was totally anti. He COVID was a government experiment, and it was a hoax and all this kind of stuff. And then it became, they're just trying to kill everybody. And then all of a sudden, when I saw him like some months later, when the vaccine came out, he was like, "Hey, Rev, I got my vaccine." He's a Caucasian guy, and I said, "But you said it was a hoax. It wasn't real." And so when he got the vaccine, I was like, okay, well, they not. However they feel about it, he was one of the ones who ended up getting it, right? And
Right.
I'm saying, while I know that this vaccine is different, we've always had to have or been encouraged to get certain vaccinations, to go back to school, to play
Right.
sport.
Right.
And for me, again, 700,000, 600,000, 400,000, 100,000 was enough for me. People that have died from this disease, right?
Right.
I want to take my chances. I'd rather be vaccinated and take my chances than not, because the numbers of people who have not been vaccinated that are dying is winning.
Well, I think most people concerns from what I've seen is their choice is being taken from them. Like, we have someone that jumped on the live and says, "I don't want to get vaccinated, but my job is making me." So we live in a culture where if you're going to force people to do something, they're going to rebel. And at this present time, people are rebelling against the vaccine. I don't think necessarily because they don't want to get it. I think because their choice is being taken away in terms of their livelihood. So if you don't get the vaccine, you're not going to work, you're going to be fired, laid off, so forth and so on. And so whereas before any other vaccine, you can opt out. So why this vaccine? Why can I opt out of getting this vaccine when any other vaccine before? If I don't want hepatitis, if I don't want to get the flu shot, if I don't want to get pneumonia or whatever, I have the right to fill out a document that says for religious purposes, I can't get this vaccine. But for some institutions and some workplaces, that form doesn't exist.
I know people who are in the medical field who were made to get a flu shot every year.
Correct. And so for some for some institutions it exists and for some it don't. In this case, people do not and cannot in some cases opt out of getting the vaccine. Like, you have to get it or you're going to lose your job. So I think that's one of the reasons why people are kind of rebelling against it. And number two, from what I've heard, this is quick. Like, y'all came up with a vaccine this quick, and years ago, it took you guys years to come up with a vaccine and approve it. It takes you guys years to come up with a cure for certain illnesses, but all of a sudden you can come up with a cure for this illness just like that, but you can't cure cancer, Alzheimer's disease, and things that's been around for years. And my answer to that is technology is different. Technology has advanced. There are people are, I don't know how this has happened, but there are hybrid geniuses in this world. These people are extremely smart. I don't know where they come from. They are baby aliens in my book, and their brains can run at nanoseconds in terms of numbers, in terms of data, in terms of molecular structures and how they move. So these organic chemistries and chemists, they're just really good at what they do. And so you have to trust as a person of faith. If God has promised you something, I do not believe that his word will return to him void. And if you know that the promise that God has told you has not come to pass, I would not fear um, in any of this. My recommendation as a healthcare professional is that you do get vaccinated. Do your research, decide assess which vaccine will be more conducive for you in terms of your health condition and what you're able to comprehend from each different manufacturer. But all in all, get vaccinated, because the vaccination, it is saving people's lives. It is reducing the side effects and cutting down the time that you are down if you do have COVID, if you do contract COVID. It is very helpful. Now, it may not keep you from getting it, but it definitely will save your lives. Less and less people are dying daily because they're vaccinated if they get COVID.
Yeah, Doc. I people who get the flu shot still catch the flu.
So let's talk about that. I'm glad you brought that up. So that's not how that works. Most people that get a flu shot, I would say 70% of them already feel sick when they come to the pharmacy. Okay, let's talk about it. They're coming to get a flu shot in an effort to try to avoid the flu, but you're already feeling sick. Once you get the flu shot, it takes anywhere between 20 to 32 days for that vaccination to become completely effective and protection to take place in the body. So if once you get vaccinated, if you are around anybody that has the flu, especially if it's flu season, or you maybe catching the flu before you get the vaccine, you're gonna get sick. So the flu vaccine is not a live virus. It is a dead virus. There is no way possible that you will get the flu unless you put yourself in an environment to get it. Now, during flu season, do you know how many people out of how many people catch the flu on a daily basis?
How many?
You're talking 3 out of 5 people.
That catch the flu that
will catch the flu without the vaccine.
Okay.
Which means if that's the case, when you come and get vaccinated, if it takes 20 to 32 days or so for the vaccine to really kick in, you still run the risk between the time the protection actually starts for you to get the flu virus.
So are you saying that, okay, let's remove that situation. Someone who is feeling healthy and they do not have the flu and they get the flu shot, that they will not contract the flu?
You will not contract the flu from the vaccine.
No.
Remember, if you're healthy, you come to the pharmacy and you get a flu shot, and 2 days later you catch the flu. That is not from the flu shot.
Let's say I'm saying I'm on my 35th day. Is in my system. It's all up in here.
Correct.
I can still catch the flu.
You can still catch the flu because the flu virus the flu vaccine only protects you from the most highly volatile strands of the flu each year. So there are tons and thousands of strands of the flu virus. Okay, tons and thousands of strands of the flu virus. They're only going to create vaccines for the most common ones upon research. When those epidemiologists get out there, and who the other people that go out there and look at bacteria, the bacteria people that's actually out in the world, they're going to tell you, okay, this is the most common virus, the most common strand of the flu virus. So this is the one that you need to provide a vaccination for. These are the ones. Okay. Now, all the other ones, it may not provide protection for. So there is a possibility that when you become vaccinated, even with COVID, there are multiple strands of COVID. You got Delta, you got Mu, you got what's Alpha, I don't know, so many different ones that are coming about. People that are vaccinated with COVID are still getting COVID because they're getting a different strand of COVID that the current vaccine does not cover. Same thing with the flu. So it is not the virus, the shot itself. Oh, every time I get a flu shot, I get sick. Well, maybe you were already sick, or maybe you had put yourself in an environment that will force you to get sick. And the flu is a rapid virus. You can be around somebody tomorrow, and 2 to 3 days later, you will feel, if they have the flu and they're asymptomatic, meaning they have the flu, they have walking flu. They have the flu virus, they're unaware, their symptoms are very, very mild to no symptoms at all. You are around them, you get the flu vaccine, 2 days later you sick. There's a possibility it came from that person as well. But it is very, very, very unlikely that the vaccine is going to cause you to get sick. And people will debate you. People will debate you about catching the flu with the flu vaccine, but it is a proven fact. Science, has shown that you will not get the flu from the flu vaccine. Now, I'm going to tell you where that came from. At one point, the flu vaccine was a live virus. So there's still a couple of viruses out there that are live. We used to give a shingles vaccine that called Zoster, which we no longer give that. We give Shingrix now. Zoster is a live vaccine, okay? We used to give medications like MMR or certain, those viruses are live. Those vaccines are live. Live vaccines, that's a live virus that's been put into your body. Yes, you're going to have symptoms. Yes, you may even have a small portion of a small part of that virus that will rise up and you're going to feel it. Those are live viruses. And at one point, the flu vaccine used to be a live vaccine.
Okay.
And so people will get those live vaccines, and yes, you will get sick from live vaccines if your immune system is not strong enough to handle the virus that is being pushed into your body. So myth is now most of facts are, well, I'll say the fact is most of the flu vaccines are not live. They're dead. It's not a live vaccine. But at one point they were. So back then, before the current technology, when people would say, I got sick from the flu vaccine,
they were given the flu.
They were given some form of the flu or a very mild strand of the flu that invoked an immune response to help their body build up the antibodies that's needed to fight off the flu strands, any other flu strand that will come. And so that's basically what that is.
So in our last 6 minutes, and I love seeing you in your element. Right?
Thank you.
For the person that says, I trust God and I'm just going to believe him for my healing and he's brought me this far and I don't need no vaccine. But yet, you being a person of faith and a person that believes that God created medicine as a healing component, right? Could you speak to the person that says, I don't need that because I got the Holy Spirit?
I do believe that God is a healer, and I do believe that he was wounded for our transgressions and bruised for our iniquities.
Don't do that. And the chastisement
was upon his.
The chastisement of our peace were upon him, and by his stripes.
I ain't no Bible scholar, but you got the point. I do believe that, but I'm not even going to say but because that cancels that out. I will say that faith in conjunction with the knowledge that God has given his people can also invoke healing as well. Here is what I mean by that. Your faith in God and what God has promised you is not going to allow a vaccine to take you out. If you get the vaccine in 3 years, you die, it was your expiration date. And God said, it's time for you to go. Your purpose on this earth has been fulfilled. No man, only if you're leaving here, that's because God said your expiration date is upon you. That is what I believe. Here is what I'm saying. Faith and medicine do go hand in hand. God will use medicine to heal you. Okay. God is a omnipresent God. He's not tangible. So the tangible part of God may come through medicine. The wise part of God, I would say this, for someone that's a diabetic, the wise part of your faith should say, I need to exercise and I should eat better. That's your words. That's your faith. That's your words, right?
God just gonna heal me while I eat the pork. And
correct. That is correct.
Pig feet and all that kind of.
That is correct. But in the meantime, while you're putting action to you taking that medicine, right? Eventually, it's designed for you to come off of it. So if you have turned from the destructive behavior that put you on the medicine in the first place,
that's good.
In conjunction with the medicine, eventually you're gonna your lifestyle will change for the better. You live longer and you come off the medicine. So again, it's there to manage you. The medicine is there to manage it until you're able to adjust and wean yourself out of that destructive lifestyle so that you don't have to be on the medicine at all.
So basically, the people that are on medicine long term, particularly for things that such as diabetes, hypertension, cholesterol, can really invoke their own healing, is what I'm hearing you say.
You can.
For certain types. Now I know that there are certain types of diabetes.
Right. You have an autoimmune disease, diabetic. You have an autoimmune disease, high blood pressure. But don't come to me and say it run in my family. I don't want to hear that.
Yeah, I don't want to discredit somebody who has the ones that you cannot. But because there are times when the doctor, there's pre-diabetic, there's pre-hypertension, right? The numbers
so you're warned.
You're warned, and then it's like, boom, take this medicine. But I do know people who have worked to get themselves out with this, losing weight, balancing, things of that sort. And so, you know, and then the Bible does say that he gave us healing, and the trees shall be for the healing of the nations, right?
Right.
And so there is this whole thing about what we consume affects us. We are what we eat. And I know that sounds theoretical, but it is practical as well. But I just wanted to share that because I think sometimes when we fight, sometimes faith can make us foolish in a negative way.
Very much.
And there are things, and my issue with Christians is how now all of a sudden everybody want to get religious exemptions from this. I'm like, but you can't. We've gotten a whole lot of other things, right? And now we want to say, oh, well, my religion, my belief don't want me to take a COVID vaccination. I'm saying you're able to do what you want to do. Kyrie Irving has made a decision that he's not going to get vaccinated, right? But I also think that companies have the right to protect other people who are employed.
That is very true. And so I think that's where, and we have to go. I'll maybe 3-5 more minutes because I know we have to try. We're trying to stay within the time frame, guys. But I will say this: that it's where that is really, I think, where the rebellion is coming from. That's really where I feel the source of why a lot of people don't want to get vaccinated. And I say that because of what I hear and because I'm in practice. When people come in there, they're saying it was either this or lose my job. But I don't want to be vaccinated. And I just feel when you start putting requirements on people to do something, that human nature in us just want to rebel. Like, right. And so now we don't want to get it. Most people don't want to get the vaccine, but can't tell me exactly why they don't want to get it. Like, what research have you done to articulate to me exactly why this would not be beneficial to you? So you can tell me what the media has said, but when I say, hey, have you researched the ingredients? Do you know what this is? Do you know the molecular structure? Do you know about the pathway by which it works? They cannot tell me that, but then they can quote to me something they heard off of Fox News or CNN, but what have you done? And so, and then the fact that people naturally want to rebel against what may save their lives. I mean, you know, that's kind of where we are with it. So I'm not pro, I'm not against. Whatever, however you're feeling about the vaccine, I encourage you to just do your research. I am vaccinated. I have all 3 doses, first, second, and booster. Okay. My daughter is also, my family is vaccinated. My daughter's vaccinated, and I do for my family based on the research that I know, and because I've done prostate cancer research and different research in a lab, I understand molecular structures, how they work, metabolism, absorption, excretion. I understand those things very thoroughly, so it was easy for me to make a decision. Yes, and then to make a decision on which vaccine would work best for me and my family. But I encourage you to do your research. There's tons of information out there, CDC, Google, YouTube University. And though people may say, really, I'm saying, yes, really, the information is out there. There are very, very smart people that's able to look at that information and break it down to layman's term where you can understand it and make the best decision for you and your family. But before you say no, know why you're saying no.
I love it. I'm vaccinated. I believe in it. My question to those who argue that they are totally against it, and I'll end with controversy. If you're against the vaccination, why do you go to the hospital when you contract COVID to get the medicine and you don't know what it is? That's my question. If you're going to be against it, why are you going to the hospital now? I think, again, Dr. Sharice has been amazing tonight. I think she's one of the most intelligent women I know, but she's also been very practical tonight that it's a rebellion. I think most of us are pushing against it, those who don't want it, because somebody's making you get it. That's all it is. And we don't like to be told what to do. But if you don't care for yourself, look out for people, your aunties and uncles and grandparents and children and other people, because you can be okay and end up killing somebody else, and then you snotting and crying at the funeral because you decided to be, ain't nobody gonna tell me what to do. Well, it's a free country, so you can do what you want to do. Our employers can do the same.
That is correct.
And if you're gonna trust God for your healing, you got to trust God that He's gonna give you a job that don't require you to be vaccinated.
Yeah, and keep in mind that this is just like anything else. I'll say this and then we'll go. So typically when laws are created, or things have been declared in your state, it's because one of the influential politicians have been affected directly by what is taking place. So if, for example, if there's people, a lot of people are taking pain meds, and then influential politician in your state, daughter or son dies from an overdose of a pain med, now there's an opioid crisis. Generally, people that do get vaccinated come in there and say, listen, my uncle died. We went to the funeral. This is why I'm getting vaccinated. But before, I was not going to get vaccinated. What I am saying is, why let it get to the place or to a point to where it is directly impacting you? Why not make the decision to prevent it? We prevent everything else. We have life insurance, we have car insurance, we have health insurance, all these things to help prevent or help offset costs out of our pocket. And the vaccine, while it may not completely protect you from COVID, it will offset you dying from a vaccine that can collapse your lungs, and a virus that can collapse your lungs and suffocate you internally and all this other good stuff. But anyway, that's just my spiel.
Thank you. No, sister, whatever end of the spectrum you are on, I respect it. It's a free world, but we also have to understand for every action there's a reaction. So stay safe, stay prayed up, wash your hands, wear your mask. If you don't know how long to wash your hands, do the Lord's Prayer or sing happy birthday, either one, until you finish. Dr. Sharice, thank you for lending us your mind for tonight and helping us make sense out of this myth. Peace out, y'all.
Peace out. And y'all go research everything I said. Most of it, about 93% of it should be accurate. If some of the numbers are off, it's not that it's not accurate, but I've been training all day. Nevertheless, peace out, y'all. We'll see y'all next Wednesday, and I'll be back in this hotel again.
Learning more to help.